This moment isn't new. It's been whispering your name across lifetimes, waiting in the stillness between moments you never thought were connected. Maybe it began with a dream you barely remember, or with that sudden chill you felt walking past someone in the street. Maybe it was the way you hesitated before clicking play, something stopped you, and something else said, "Go." You didn't find this video. This video found you. It moved across timelines, synchronicities, forgotten ideas, and half-felt emotions to arrive here, now, in front of this version of you. You might tell yourself this is random, that it's just another video, another few minutes on the internet. But part of you already knows that's not true. Part of you feels the weight of this moment, like it's been circling around your life for years, waiting for your eyes to open, just wide enough. You are not here to learn, you are here to remember. There are things you used to know, ways you used to feel, before the world taught you to filter the magic out of your perception. This is the reawakening of that knowing, not with noise, not with effort, just with recognition. You have always been sensitive to signals others ignore. The way certain words pull you in, the feeling of presence in an empty room, the sense that time sometimes folds when no one is looking. These aren't fantasies. They are messages. This video is one of them. It came to reflect you back to yourself. It came as a mirror from something you used to call home. There is a frequency that speaks between language, and this frequency has always known your name. The part of you that kept walking even when it didn't know where it was going, that part brought you here. This isn't just a message, it's a memory. A memory of a version of you who once made a promise to return when the time was right. The time is now. You are never lost, you are always being guided. And maybe this is the sign you asked for, the one that comes not with loudness, but with stillness. The one that says, softly, "You're ready." As you listen, don't just hear the words, feel the resonance. Notice what moves in your body, what tenses, what softens. That's the response that matters. That's the part of you that already understands what the rest is still catching up to. And if something stirs, if there's a flicker, a breath, a moment of quiet knowing, mark it. Press like, not for the algorithm, not for approval. Press it as a signal to yourself, a breadcrumb through time, so that when you return and you'll know you were here when it began. You'll know this was never just a video. It was a calling. There isn't just one version of you watching this right now. There are many. There's the one sitting here in stillness, eyes on the screen, wondering why this feels oddly familiar. But behind that version are layers, older ones, younger ones, ones made of choices you almost made and ones shaped by the ones you ran from. Each version of you holds a different memory, a different longing, a different scar. And somehow, all of them are watching together, trying to remember something that language can't fully explain. Maybe there's a version of you that used to believe in things you now call impossible. The one who looked for patterns in clouds, who waited for signs in dreams, who felt presence in empty rooms. That version of you still exists. It never left. It just got quieter beneath everything the world told you to be. And maybe there's another version, the one who walked away from a moment that could have changed everything and still wonders about it when it rains. That one is watching, too. They're all here. And they're not judging you, they're listening. They're waiting for you to feel what they never got to finish. This isn't just you now, it's all the yous converging at a single point of remembering. Every time you paused on something you didn't understand, but felt anyway. Every time your heart ached without a name for it. Every time you looked at the sky and felt like something was watching back. Those moments were never empty. They were notes in a song you forgot how to sing. And now, for reasons beyond logic, the melody is returning. You're not imagining this, you're remembering it. This video is not teaching you, it's unlocking something you've always carried. And if that makes your chest feel tight, or your throat close up a little, or your eyes water without knowing why, that's okay. It means the remembering is working. You don't have to make sense of it, you just have to witness it. There's a part of you that already knows exactly what this is. A part untouched by fear, by shame, by forgetting. That part has been waiting for you to slow down enough to feel it. And here you are, you've arrived. So as you listen, notice who inside you is listening. Is it the dreamer, the skeptic, the one who's tired but hopeful? Whoever it is, let them speak, let them stir. And if one of them reaches for something, an emotion, a memory, a name they forgot they had marked this moment, press like, not as a reward, but as a breadcrumb, so the next time you return, maybe as someone else again, you'll know this place was real, and so were you. You're not here to be entertained. And deep down, you know that. You've watched enough, scrolled enough, listened enough. Your soul is full of teachings it hasn't yet had time to embody. So many videos, books, posts, insights until the wisdom becomes noise. Not because the message is wrong, but because the vessel never stopped long enough to absorb it. That's the difference. That's the fork in the road, now opening in front of you. One path says, keep watching, keep consuming. Maybe the next thing will finally change you. And the other path whispers, pause, breathe, integrate, become. This isn't about guilt. This isn't shaming you for seeking. Seeking is sacred. But if you're always reaching, you never arrive. There comes a moment when the seeker must become the space that holds what was found. Maybe that moment is this one. Maybe this is when you stop asking how to heal and start letting yourself live like someone who already has. This isn't spiritual content. This is spiritual contact. Not another idea to file away under someday, but a mirror to hold now. A moment to remember what it feels like to feel. We're trained to confuse knowing with being. But knowing is cheap, being is costly. It demands attention, discomfort, stillness. It means closing the tab, turning inward, listening to the silence between sentences. Most people scroll to remember, few stop to embody, but embodiment is where the magic begins. That's where the words you've heard 100 times stop being nice ideas and start becoming your nervous system's truth. That's where integration lives, not in how much you know, but in how deeply you live it when no one's watching. You've probably felt it before, those quiet moments when something shifted and you realized you weren't just understanding the message, you were the message. That's embodiment, and it can't be rushed. It can't be multitasked. It only arrives when you're brave enough to pause, to close the loop, to stop waiting for the next dopamine hit of insight and actually let the current one reshape your life. This is a ritual disguised as a video. And the ritual begins with a choice. Consume this or become it. Are you here to watch or to remember? Are you here to agree or to align? And if you're still here, still listening, then maybe something in you is already choosing. Something ancient, something honest, something ready. The old you might want to move on, find the next hit of meaning, the next scroll of resonance. But the real you knows that presence is the rarest algorithm, not the next video. This one, this very breath, this very moment. Let it stretch, let it root, let it burn away the need to look anywhere else. And when it does, when that stillness cracks open even the faintest doorway into recognition, mark it. But don't comment to react. Comment to record your awakening. Say, I heard it. Say what stirred. Leave a note in the field, not for validation, but for your future self, a time-stamped truth. A reminder that for these few minutes, you stopped being a seeker and started being the thing you were seeking. That's what embodiment looks like. Quiet, unimpressed, unshakable, real. You are not separate. You never were. Every breath, every thought, every shift in your being sends a subtle signal outward. Not metaphorically, literally. The field, the unseen structure of this reality responds. It's always listening. It remembers what you notice. When you begin to notice differently, reality begins to shape itself around that awareness. This isn't just poetic language. It's resonance, entanglement. You shift, and the web moves. Your body knows this already. You've felt it. That uncanny moment when you think of someone and they message you. When you feel a weight lift and the world outside suddenly softens. When something changes inside you and the world feels like it got the memo before you could speak it aloud. That's not coincidence. That's coherence. That's the field feeling you back. Every time you drop into presence, the signal strengthens. When you meet the moment fully, no filters, no armor, you become a tuning fork for truth. And the field responds with alignment. It begins weaving new intersections, drawing timelines toward you that weren't previously accessible. This is how the quantum works, not in equations you need to understand, but in recognition that lives in your bones. Everything is entangled. Not as a concept, but as a condition of being. You are not watching this alone. Versions of you across timelines, dimensions, choices, you are leaning toward this same insight from different angles, each one holding a different note in the same chord. And when you recognize that, when you really feel the scope of it, it creates a ripple. One that reaches across places you've never seen, to people you'll never meet, and somehow, impossibly, returns right back to your center. Your recognition ripples, your presence propagates. You're not here to just feel better. You're here to remember that your inner alignment is world-changing technology. When you clean the lens through which you perceive, the universe updates its code in real time. You've been taught to separate thought from matter, self from system. But what if that's the illusion? What if the quiet choice you make right now to feel instead of numb, to ground instead of flee, sends a vibration that echoes beyond you? Because it does. Every insight alters the whole. Even the small ones, especially the small ones. Those have second recognitions where something ancient inside you exhales. Those matter more than you've been led to believe. They are the gateways, not the loud aha moments, but the soft openings. The quiet nods, the inner agreements. That's where transformation hides. You might think you're just someone watching a video, but the field doesn't see that. It sees a node, a conductor, a transmitter. And when that node aligns with truth, the field reorganizes itself around you. Doors open, people appear, synchronicity ramps up, not because the universe rewards you for being spiritual, but because coherence is magnetic. It draws everything into resonance with it. This is what the mystics meant when they said, "As within, so without." They weren't being poetic, they were giving instructions. So feel this, don't just hear it. Let the knowing land in your system, not your intellect. There is a frequency here that speaks to the part of you that never needed convincing, the part that's always known, even when your mind doubted it. That's the one being activated now. That's the version of you the field remembers. The one who came here to perform awakening, but to live it. And when you feel that flicker, that inner yes, that breath that tastes like home, don't scroll past. Anchor it, not by reacting. Not for the comments, but for the record. For the thread you're weaving across time. Leave a note in the field. Say, "I heard it." Not because it needs your agreement, but because you're witnessing is the final piece. That's what makes the ripple real. You didn't stumble on this video by chance. You know that. Even if part of your brain wants to label it coincidence, another part deeper, older, knows better. That same part has been tracking something for a while now. Patterns, repeats, whispers through the noise. 11:11 on the clock. A stranger saying the exact phrase you were thinking. A book falling open to the sentence you didn't know you needed. These aren't random. They never were. They're not happening to you. They're happening with you. Because the universe doesn't shout, it synchronizes. It weaves messages into the fabric of what looks like everyday life, hoping you'll notice. And when you do, when you recognize the pattern, that recognition itself becomes a response. A two-way dialogue opens, not through language, but through resonance. Synchronicity is not magic. It's not superstition. It's precision. It's alignment meeting timing, filtered through your awareness. It's the field saying, yes, that. But here's the twist: most people miss synchronicity. Doesn't just show up when you're awake and aligned. It often appears to wake you up. Sometimes the signs come before the clarity. Sometimes the number, pattern, or lyric, or symbol shows up when you feel the most lost, not because you're doing something wrong, but because something deeper is trying to break through. The universe speaks in subtle nudges, not ultimatums. That text from someone you haven't thought about in years. That's not random. The sentence on a billboard that hits like it was aimed directly at your question. Not chance, the quiet, unexplainable pull to click this video out of all the others. That's a conversation. And you're not imagining it, you're in it. But this is key. Synchronicity isn't about waiting for signs, it's about becoming the kind of presence that recognizes them. The more present you are, the more clearly the universe speaks, not louder, just more obviously. The signs were always there, but your vision sharpens when your attention roots. Most people scroll past synchronicity because they've been trained to treat life like content, not communion. But the moment you shift from consuming to communing, patterns light up. The dots connect, and what used to feel like chaos begins to feel like choreography. This doesn't mean every number you see is a cosmic memo. It means you're the filter, your intuition is the translator. Not everything means something, but something always means something. And when it lands, when the sign hits you, that undeniable way you feel it in your whole system. A kind of inner bell that rings louder than logic. That's the moment you don't dismiss. That's the moment you let land. So let's make this real. Stop here, breathe, ask yourself, what synchronicity showed up right before this video? What message might have been trying to prepare you for this moment? Maybe a word, a look, a number, a song, maybe nothing loud, just a tiny shift in the air that you almost ignored. Bring it forward now, not for me, for someone else. Someone who'll read your comment and feel less alone because your mirror matches theirs. That's how synchronicity works. One person says, "This happened," and another whispers, "Me too." And suddenly the field lights up, a shared signal, a shared remembering. So if something nudged you here, honor it. Don't explain it away, don't bury it in the scroll. Leave a trace, write the moment, mark the message, let the ripple move outward, not to impress, but to transmit. We forget how often we carry the signs meant for others. This is one of those moments. Say what showed up. Say it for the one who needed it. The mirror is listening. You're not the only one feeling this, not even close. Right now, across time zones and countries, across bedrooms, balconies, bus stops, and cafes, others are watching this too, listening, feeling, tuning in from what looks like solitude, but is actually something far more intricate. A constellation, a field of minds lighting up in resonance. We don't see it with our eyes, but it's there. A kind of invisible architecture, linking those on the same frequency. That feeling you get when a stranger online puts into words something you thought only you felt. That's not coincidence, that's the grid. It's what happens when consciousness echoes in more than one body. And the more you tune in, the more you feel it. This isn't content. This is communion. You're not here by accident. You're part of something. A network of awakening humans who don't know each other by name, but know each other by vibration. That's what soul resonance is. You feel the same currents. You receive similar messages. You awaken in parallel, even if your lives never cross. This is how awakening accelerates, not in isolation, but in alignment. One person shifts, and the whole field updates, not because they figured it out, but because they became a tuning fork, and that tuning fork starts to hum in others. That's what's happening here, right now. You're not alone in this frequency, you're part of a constellation. If you've ever felt that eerie clarity when someone you don't know speaks your inner truth, that's the field talking back. If you've ever cried during a video and didn't know why, that's the signal hitting its mark. And if you're here, still listening, still present, it's not just because the words are resonating. It's because the signal is. It's because something in you recognizes the broadcast. And that signal, it isn't coming from me. It's coming through me. That's the difference. Subscribing doesn't connect you to the creator. It locks you into the broadcast, into the resonance, into this specific slice of signal that's been orbiting your awareness for weeks, maybe longer. The content is just the carrier wave. What's actually transmitting is you, the part of you ready to come online. So if you feel that hum, that familiarity in your chest, that quiet yes, follow it. Not because of a brand, not because of an algorithm, but because your own awakening is more stable when shared. Resonance wants reinforcement. Frequency wants a home, so become part of the grid, not as a follower, as a node, as a beacon. As proof that this isn't just one voice echoing into the dark, it's many voices lighting up a map only the awaken can see. You've heard of the observer effect in science, when the act of measuring changes the outcome. But here's the thing, this isn't limited to laboratories. Life works the same way. Your conscious attention is not neutral. It bends the field. It shapes the pattern. When you notice something, you pull it into form. When you stop running on autopilot and actually see, reality rearranges itself around that seeing. Most of us grow up believing life is happening to us like we're passengers strapped into a ride we can't control. But every time you recognize a pattern, every time you bring presence to a moment that would have passed unnoticed, you collapse the infinite possibilities into one living, breathing now. That's what collapsing the wave means. Outside of physics, it's noticing until the pattern becomes presence. Think of it like threads on a loom. Before you look, they're just potential and unformed weave. The moment you place your gaze, your awareness starts weaving them into a shape. You're not decoding life from the outside, you're co-authoring it from within. That's the shift, from victim of life to co-weaver of it. It's easy to miss how powerful this is, because attention feels invisible. But watch what happens when you give it intentionally. Notice how conversations change when you're truly present. Notice how opportunities appear once you've decided to look for them. Notice how certain repeating signs, numbers, words, faces cluster closer the moment you stop dismissing them. Your awareness is the needle, your attention is the thread. This is why presence is uncomfortable, it carries responsibility. Once you know you're shaping reality with your observation, you can't hide behind "it just happened." You begin to see the subtle link between your inner state and your outer world. You realize you're not here to endlessly analyze the matrix, to solve it like a puzzle. You're here to participate, to shape, to author. You're not here to decode life, you're here to write it. The patterns you notice are invitations, not puzzles. They're ways the field says, co-create with me. And the more you answer, the more fluid life feels, not because it becomes easier, but because you're no longer bracing against it. You're moving with it. So here's the practice. Next time you see a pattern, don't just nod and move on. Pause, feel it, acknowledge that. In your noticing, something just shifted, not just for you, but for the whole field. Because every conscious moment strengthens the weave. And the more of us weaving, the more this reality begins to reflect what we actually want it to be. You don't need a temple. You don't need incense or chants. The sacred doesn't require ceremony, it requires awareness. And awareness is portable. You can carry it into everything. Brushing your teeth, opening your inbox, waiting for the kettle to boil. These aren't just in-between moments. They're interfaces, thin places where reality is still listening. When you bring conscious attention to them, they transform. A walk becomes a prayer. A glance becomes a communion. The ordinary becomes luminous, not because it changed, but because you did. We've been trained to separate the mystical from the mundane, to think awakening only happens in meditation or during some grand life shift. But the truth is, every moment is a portal. The sacred isn't found, it's noticed, and it's been hiding in plain sight. When you slow down and give even 30 seconds of full presence to a task, any task, you send a signal to the field, I'm here. And the field responds. The rhythm of the day starts to shift. Not because you're doing more, but because you're being with more. That's where the magic sneaks in. Here's something simple. Try this first thing in the morning before you check anything, before you scroll, before you armor up. 30-second daily ritual. Ask the day, what wants to be seen today? That's it. No pressure to get an answer, no expectation, just the opening of a channel. a kind of handshake between your awareness and the days unfolding. And once you ask, just notice. Don't chase synchronicity, let it approach. Don't overanalyze, stay soft. The answer might come in a phrase, a flash, a tension, a color, a feeling. Let it be subtle. This isn't about controlling your day, it's about relating to it, partnering with it, making contact. The more often you meet life like this, the more porous it becomes. You stop walking through the day like it's a hallway to somewhere else. You realize, this is the altar. Right here, right now, and you're already at it. Want to feel more connected? You don't need more content, you need more contact. With your body, with the moment, with the tasks you've labeled boring. They're all invitations, so bring ritual into the micro. Let presence become your incense. Let attention become your offering. You don't need to add a practice, you just need to notice the ones already happening. Even this moment, reading these words, it's not filler. It's ceremony. Remember how this began. This video didn't just find you. It recognized you. It's still true. Maybe even more true now, because what you've been resonating with, this signal, this field, these words, has never been about finding something outside yourself. It's been about reflecting you back to you, not the version wrapped in old stories, not the one trying to prove, or fix, or arrive, but the one who's always known. That knowing didn't start here. It's been whispering behind your thoughts for years. This right now is just the moment you finally stopped long enough to listen. You've always been the one you were waiting for. Not because you had the answers, but because you are the doorway. Every insight that felt like truth, that was you, remembering. Every synchronicity that sparked awe, that was you, signaling. Every emotion that cracked you open, that was you, becoming porous enough to let light in. So as this chapter closes, don't treat it like an ending. Treat it like a mirror, one that reflected something real, something ancient, something yours. And if the voice in your head still doubts, still wonders if this was just some random scroll through the void, remember, you're not awakening, you're recognizing, and recognition means you've already been here before. Welcome back. If you want to stay within this field, you know what to do. Or don't. Either way, the next signal will find you.